Previously on Conversations with Cal. For all those who may not know, I mean, most people know, but who may not know, give a brief history of the Asian Festival and how it was inspired.
Yeah, it was a one-day event, and then the next, because so many people came out, we thought like, well, if we got 10 Asian groups to bring people out, maybe we get like, 1,000 people or something like that. But we got 10,000 people. We're like, wow, people are ready for an Asian festival. So in the next year, we did a 2-day event, and it's been a 2-day event since.
Yeah, and the numbers of the people participant grew from 10,000 one day to now almost 50,000 for the festival. And we had to expand the footprint because it get too small and too crowded that nobody can eat anymore because the line is too long. So we try to spread it out as much as we can. Unfortunately, here in Asian Town, the footprint is too small. We don't have any green space. So we can use what we can to make it work. And at this point, we do what we can.
What would you say the goal is for people who come? What will they take from the festival?
Well, we want people to experience we want people to experience a wide variety of Asian culture and Pacific Islander culture, because the Asian community is not a monolith. There's so many variety in our community in food, dance, music, different styles. So we want people to experience. So we'd say, come to the Cleveland Asian Festival, enjoy the Asian food court, the food trucks. And this is like tasting food from many different cultures, but all in one place. But also visit the World Marketplace. It's like shopping local and beyond. So we have local vendors, but we have vendors who bring wares from all over the world. So that's why it's called the World Marketplace.
Greetings, Cleveland, and welcome to Conversations with Cal, the show that initiates engaging conversation. I'm your host, Cornell Calhoun III, and today our conversation centers around the Superhero Project. I'm excited to be at the Friendly Inn Settlement and thrilled to have as my guest the founder and director of the project, Miss Lisa Kollins. Lisa, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Let's start a conversation. So I told you earlier before we got started that I'm in my neighborhood. I'm in my own home, Friendly Inn Settlement. I play Little League Baseball here. So I'm back home.
I'm so glad.
What is the Superhero Project?
We are a local nonprofit that uses art as a tool for healing and to empower young people impacted by disabilities, by serious illnesses, and other complex mental health, developmental, and medical needs.
What inspired the project?
I actually began something similar at a camp where I was a volunteer counselor and program specialist for 9 years. The camp was called Camp Sunrise, and it was the only camp for 24 years that served youth impacted by HIV and AIDS. And every summer there was a different theme, and one year the theme was about finding your inner superhero. And I just thought, wouldn't that be so cool if the first day of camp we asked the kids who they would be as a superhero and surprise them the last day of camp with images, with, pictures of themselves as those heroes that they created. And so with the help of a friend in animation, we were able to make that happen. And the images, the posters that came back so beautifully captured our campers' spunk and strength and spirit that I hated to let it go. So I kept going.
So how do you select the children and the families? How are they selected?
We are open to anybody who falls within the general categories that I just mentioned. The Superhero Project is free and really open to families around the world. We've served youth While we absolutely serve youth here in the Cleveland area, including all of these superheroes behind us who are scholars here at the Friendly Inn, we've also worked with families from 49 states, from 8 Canadian provinces, and from 25 countries altogether.
And so, why is it important to view these children as heroes rather than patients?
There are a few reasons. First, in terms of looking at it from the outside perspective, that young people dealing with illnesses or living with lifelong disabilities are very often marginalized and underestimated. People don't always recognize the inherent gifts and the qualities that they are bringing to make their families' lives better and the world around them better. So if you see them as a superhero, then that immediately changes your perspective. So we know that parents have told us how much of a difference it makes when they introduce their child to a new care provider, a new doctor, a new teacher, and show them as their alter ego. And that just sets things off on a different foot. It reminds doctors especially that they're not dealing with a diagnosis, they're dealing with an individual. And the benefits for the young people themselves are also very important. Many of them are aware that they are being seen as a patient, and this gives them the chance to sort of reclaim their agency over their physical selves and to really show off and explain who they are inside beyond a diagnosis and how they want to make a positive contribution to the world.
Okay, so walk us through the process of selecting a child and then what happens after that.
Sure. Once a family reaches out to us, as long as they're eligible, and again, our umbrella, our tent is very, very big, then families select a date, an interview date and time that works for their schedules. For local families, we meet at different organizations or at a library or at their home. But for most people at this point, we do virtual interviews. So we'll connect by Zoom or Google Meet or FaceTime, really whatever works best for families. We take them through an interview process. More than half the interview is really focused on the whole child. We want to know what makes them tick, what kind of things they love, what they see as their best qualities, what makes them a good friend, what kind of adventures they want to have, what they're curious about, everything that makes them. And then we take them through a series of questions to conceptualize their superhero alter ego, always starting with the mission. We want to know what positive change they want to see in the world, what kind of a difference they want to make. And then from there, we help them figure out what their superhero look is going to be from head to toe, what kind of tools and powers they're going to have, how they get from place to place, and of course, what their superhero name will be. All of that information, along with photos of the kids and the teens, goes to a member of our League of Extraordinary Artists. And they then design the figure, the character, based on the kids' ideas and their pictures. And the result is a poster that really is a visual representation of their strength, of their courage, their resilience, and their creativity.
And how do you select the artists? Where do the artists come from? They're so awesome.
It is awesome. And I've been blown away over and over again by how many creative people around the world are opening their hearts to the kids and the families we support. We've worked with over 700 artists from every continent except Antarctica, and we are working on finding someone in Antarctica right now. And they come primarily from the world of animation, concept design, and visual development for TV and feature films. But we, of course, have a lot of children's book illustrators. We have comic book artists. We have video game designers. We have muralists and caricaturists and hobbyists who are good. So they reach out to us, and our creative director assesses their work and their style. And if it's a good fit, then they do something similar to the families. They pick an assignment date and a deadline that works for their their schedule. And of course, since all of their part is done via email, they really can be anywhere. So we send them the information. They usually have maybe 12 to 14 days to turn it around. They send us the final design, we ooh and ah over it, and then we send it to printers. We have 3 amazing local printers who have been donating printing for years, and we have one printer in Sydney, Australia as well, who takes care of all of our super kids on that side of the world. And we get the posters back. We write a short character story based on their ideas and their own words. And then we send everything to the child along with that story and a note from the artist.
Talk about the impact of the program on the children that it helps.
Absolutely. That has been one of the most exciting parts of this whole initiative. When I started, to be honest, I had no idea the kind of impacts that were possible. Families most often report an increase in self-confidence, both from seeing themselves, both from the youth seeing themselves depicted beautifully and powerfully, but also from the interview experience and from knowing that a professional artist has taken their ideas so seriously and designed something based on their creative direction. We always say that taking art direction from an 8-year-old is a very unique experience. Families talk about resilience, that having their superhero gives them another tool in their arsenal, so that if a child is facing a challenge, whether that's a big test coming up or a medical procedure or just something that they're anxious about, that their parents can say, which of your superpowers are you going to call on in this moment to help you get through this difficult time? They talk about building feelings of connection and community. First of all, they're joining this incredible pantheon of over 1,700 young superheroes that have been created. But it's also a wonderful way for families to show their communities, their neighbors, their extended family, their faith community, their school community. Look, this is how we see our child. We don't want you to be afraid of them. We don't want you to not want to talk to them. We don't want you to isolate yourself because you don't know what to say. We want you to see our child as beautiful and powerful and as making a difference, just like we do. And then finally, they really talk about how being part of this superhero project inspires hope. Some of that may be also seeing themselves or seeing their kids, really shown as the powerhouses who they are inside, but also just knowing that there are people all over the world who are cheering their kids on, wishing them well, and wanting to give this special gift just out of the kindness of their hearts.
We have a special video that I want to share with the audience about the project. Just powerful. Here's a episode from the Superhero Project. Let's take a look.
There are a lot of kids out there that deserve to see themselves as the superheroes they are inside. When I do workshops, I often ask, tell me the qualities of a superhero beyond anything supernatural. People say superheroes are brave. Superheroes stand up for what they believe in. Superheroes fight for justice. Those qualities are what I believe are in every child, especially kids who have lifelong disabilities, who have complex mental health, developmental, or other medical needs. Kids from the foster care system, we've worked with young people living in poverty who have experienced trauma. Each of those kids and teens has a contribution to make. We get to not only share that contribution, but uplift it and celebrate it. Just by being themselves, they are making a difference in the world.
Hi there.
All right.
Hi, I'm Lisa from the Superhero Project. Are you Lee Rue?
Yes.
Did I say your name right?
Yeah.
Excellent. Are we all ready to start?
Yeah.
When we meet a child, we start with an interview to discover who they are beyond their diagnosis and how they want to make a positive difference in the world. Two of our core values are inclusion and representation. That's really instrumental in like everything that we do and the families that we're working with.
You want to have like magic knuckles so that when you go bump with someone that it makes their hearts happy?
I would love that. Yes, please.
They get to use their imaginations, which is our third value, and our fourth is joy.
Powers, I would have a shield. Shing, shing. Okay, that's it.
No case.
This is a tangible way for families to say, this is how we see our child, and this is how we want you to see our child as well.
You see those posters on the wall behind me?
Yeah.
Well, one of our artists is going to take all of your ideas and make a poster just for you. Are you ready to get started?
Yes.
Levi is 5. He has green hair. He has a mohawk. I always tell everyone that we have one girl this way and the other girl this way, and he's like the missing piece.
They're a perfect little trio.
We're not a normal family.
We're not a normal family. I think this whole process has kind of made him a little bit shy, because in the hospital, you've got nurses coming in and out all the time, doctors coming in and out all the time, and he just gets tired of it.
He was 3 when he was diagnosed. He was this happy kid, and then to get the phone call that it is leukemia was... Here we go.
That's your boy and the baby. You're so overwhelmed with what's going on that you try to keep your family put together, and it's just falling apart. It's just falling apart.
He would tell you he's great. He would be in the bed, hooked up to IVs. You could tell he does not feel good, but he would stare at you and say he feels great.
Hey, Levi, how are you, buddy?
Great.
Now that we're in the maintenance phase, I give him a chemo daily.
That was a crap.
The next one is ringing the bell. That would be the next corner. And we're very looking forward to that.
That is just so powerful. Every time I watch it, it just does something to my heart. To Levi, that was so powerful. Do you still keep in touch with some of the children that are, in the program?
Absolutely. Some of them do. We have every few months, we have a Draw with the Artist session where young people Zoom in and we have a featured artist. The last one we had was actually an artist named Ian McKegg, who is responsible for much of the design and concept art for the last few Star Wars movies. So he designed a number of really classic characters. So he zoomed in and we had a fun Star Wars day. We did it on May 4th actually, which is, Star Wars Day, because it's May the 4th be with you. We've earlier had children's book illustrators, one named David Shannon, who has a whole series of wonderful books called No David. And we had one of the animators who works on Bluey. Bluey is a very popular cartoon who many of our younger super kids mention, and it is made in Australia. So he actually zoomed in all the way from down under. It was very early in the morning for him and very late afternoon for us. So we make those work.
Talk about the collaboration with the Friendly Inn that we're here and this beautiful display.
Sure. We had a grant from Sisters of Charity to do something in the community to uplift the young people here who are sometimes, placed in very difficult situations because of all kinds of outside reasons. And so I reached out to the Friendly Inn, which I was familiar with from my time working at Youth Opportunities Unlimited. Yeah. And I explained who we were and what we do, and they thought it would be fantastic. So we came in, we brought our touring exhibit actually first, which focuses on representational justice and is a collection of 60 posters, all created by Black, Latinx, Native American, Arab American, and Asian American youth, and really talks about the critical need for young people to see themselves reflected in art and in culture. After we did a workshop around that exhibit, I did interviews with each of the young people that you see here, and they designed their alter egos. They told me what they wanted to do to help the world, what they would look like, and as you can see, they all have very different ideas. And then our artists went to work, and we were able to bring back the exhibit. We actually opened it with a very special celebration. We had some gentlemen beam in, 2 artists from 9B, which is the first Black-owned concept art studio in Hollywood. And they are incredibly talented, kind-hearted men. Together, they've worked on huge films that you might have heard of, recently, one of them did the costume work for Wicked, but they also were instrumental in Black Panther and in a number of other superhero films and other beautiful films.
What has been the biggest challenge in running the program, Lisa?
So I could share a professional challenge and a personal challenge. The professional challenge is that our capacity is not enough to handle the demand. So right now, families who sign up independently have to wait several months until an interview slot is available. And we really have so much to do that we could use more staff, but we can't bring on more staff yet until we have the fundraising and the budget to do so. And so it's a little bit of a double-edged sword. Personally, the hardest part is that the longer that I work on this project, and it's been now since 2017, the more and more of the posters, unfortunately, become memorial posters. And so when families reach out to let us know that a child who we met and shared a wonderful time with have passed away, it's difficult. It hurts. What the one positive lining or the one balm that I feel is that the families talk about how much the poster continues to mean to them, that not only do they have it displayed in their home and it's a beautiful depiction of their child, but it also serves as a legacy piece, sort of teaching and explaining what was important to their child. And it also is a wonderful reminder of the conversation that we shared, seeing their children come to life and be excited and talk all about themselves. And we always have kids give answers that surprise their parents, which is always really fun when you see the look on the parent's face that I didn't know he was going to say that, or I had no idea that that's what his favorite, movie or book or toy or food or anything is. And so as I said, the posters are a representation of the kids in more than just appearance, but really in their whole selves.
Right. So if someone wanted to donate to the program, how would they go about it? How would they reach you or reach the Superhero Project?
The easiest way is to go onto our website, which is SHP for Superhero Project Kids.org. All of our contact info is there. We're always happy to, of course, we are grateful for donations, contributions, but we're also happy to work with other groups like the Friendly Inn. If you have a group of young people that you think would benefit from this kind of positive social emotional intervention, we are always happy to talk about different collaborations.
Wow. Thank you so much for being on the show. It has been an honor to have you.
Oh, the honor is mine. Thank you so much for inviting me.
As we conclude today's episode of Conversations with Cal, we have witnessed the young people who have faced tragedy, trauma, disabilities, and we've witnessed their creativity. And they are redefining what it means to be a hero. We honor their journeys and the power of art in healing. And we close with this special video from the project. Please join us in celebrating these young heroes and the artists who collaborate with them. I'm Cornell Calhoun III for TV 20.
Representational justice is an artistic practice that uses image making to honor the full humanity of people of color. Practitioners of representational justice use artistic production to counter dominant narratives about race and power by showing the beauty, dignity, and strength of communities at the margins of society. Representational justice reclaims space in visual culture for people who are systematically excluded from full participation in society. For youth especially, it is an important opportunity to say in the face of othering, I am beautiful. Interventions around race and politics are orchestrated through images. To see the full spectrum of marginalized individual identities represented in images is to free us all from our nation's history of inhumanity and to usher us into a more just and equitable future. The Superhero Project brings representational justice to the community by visually transforming youth of color facing serious illness or disabilities into the superheroes they are inside, limitless in power and brave in the face of injustice. The superhero alter egos created by the youth reimagine self-portraiture. They function to affirm their dignity and counter stereotypes about disabilities. Above all, they elevate youth of color with disabilities from one of the most marginalized and excluded groups in society to the most celebrated protectors of the universe. Their visions motivate us all to use our talents to effect change in the struggle for racial equity and justice.